Island of Nightmares by Colton Dennis. When Miles Shoemaker, Sarah Kindler and Valerie Powell are invited to an island, they think it's a romantic getaway. But they soon discover that there and #039 is something strange about this island. A few of Colton and #039's creations have appeared. Now they must try to survive this island before they end up dead. The ocean appears. Rain is pouring down from the sky. Thunder rumbles. Lightning flashes in the sky. An island appears in the distance. The water crashes into a dock. A laboratory appears, typing on a keyboard. Willie McBride appears sitting at the computer. Footsteps are approaching. Roderick Matthews appears approaching. Willie, how is everything doing tonight? Asked Roderick. Everyone is doing great. So far, none have made a sound, said Willie. Good. How about TS-15? Asked Roderick. That one is making a lot of noise. It's almost like it wants to get out, said Willie. Don and #039. Worry, there will be a time, my precious, said Roderick. Sir, why did you create these creatures? Asked Willie. Roderick turns towards Willie. I didn't and #039 make these creatures. Colton Dennis did. Remember, these were creatures in his story, said Roderick. Yeah, but making them into real monsters. That and #039's just evil if you tell me, said Willie. Are you sure I and #039 am the evil one? When Colton had these ideas in the first place, and he wanted this place up and running before he died, said Roderick. All right, said Willie. Don and #039 worry, nothing is gonna happen. I promise you that. An alarm starts beeping. A banging sound comes from a giant door. What the hell is that? Said Roderick. TS-15. It and #039's trying to break down the door, said Willie. Roderick pulls out a walkie-talkie. Carl, Rosa, get to TS-15 and #039's cage and gas the damn thing. Or can and #039 you gas it from here? Asked Roderick. I and #039 try, but it might get out by the time I and #039 done, said Willie typing onto the keyboard. The banging sound continues. A jeep pulls up, then stops. Carl Wilson and Rosa Hardy appear. A roaring comes from inside of the cage. The giant door slowly denting. Fire, said Carl. Both Carl and Rosa point their guns, then fire them. Gas bombs go through a tiny window. The gas sprays through the window. A roaring comes from inside of the cage again. A thudding sound. The ground shakes. Rosa pulls out her walkie-talkie. Sir, the creature is down. I Don and #039 think. It and #039 be getting up for a while now, said Rosa. Great job. Get back here before it does wake up, said Roderick lowering his walkie-talkie. Close one, sir, said Willie. Don and #039 worry. I said, and quat. I promise you nothing will happen, and quat. Not to us anyway, said Roderick pulling out his cell phone. What and #039's next, sir? Asked Willie. We need to bring a few visitors to the island, said Roderick holding his cell phone to his ear, then walking away. Plains, Pennsylvania. Both Alan Shoemaker and Miles Shoemaker appear. Here it comes, said Miles, throwing a football. Alan catches the football. Yeah, touchdown. Alan does a little dance. Miles is laughing. All right, it and #039's coming back to you. Alan throws the football. The football flies over Miles and #039's head, then lands into Virgil and #039's yard. Oops, said Alan. It and #039's alright. I and #039 get it. Miles runs around the hedge. Virgil Patterson appears. Hi, Mr. Patterson. Sorry about the football, said Miles. It and #039's alright. Just glad to see you having fun. Especially Alan, said Virgil. Yeah, hey, want to throw some? Asked Miles. Oh no, I and #039 am afraid my throwing days are way behind me, said Virgil. Hey, like that saying goes. And quat. You only look how you feel, and quat, said Miles. Well, I feel like taking a nap, said Virgil. Both Miles and Virgil start laughing. All right, see you later, Mr. Patterson, said Miles. Please, it and #039's Virgil, said Virgil walking towards his house. Miles smiles. Dad, come on, said Alan. It and #039's coming back at you, said Miles, throwing the football. Alan catches the football, then does another dance. A van pulls into the driveway. Mom's home, said Alan, running towards the van. The van turns off, then the side door opens. Valerie Powell appears. Hey, come give me a hand with the bags, said Valerie. Alan grabs a few bags. So, what did you get me? Anything good? Asked Alan. Yeah, all healthy snacks, said Valerie. Oh man, said Alan, carrying the bags towards the house. So, what and #039 do you get me? Ha ha ha, asked Miles, bouncing. Valerie smiles. Knock it off and carry the bags inside, said Valerie. Yes, master, said Miles, grabbing a case of water, then carrying it towards the house. Valerie shuts the van hatch. A mail truck appears, stopping next to the mailbox. Valerie looks at the mail truck. Afternoon, Miss Powell, said mailman number 1. Afternoon, I and #039 take my mail, said Valerie. Ah, government rules. Can and #039 touch the mail until it and #039's in the mailbox, said mail number 1. All right, I could wait, said Valerie. So, how and #039's little Alan doing? Asked mailman number 1. Great. And he ain't and #039 little anymore. He and #039's gonna be 13 already, said Valerie. Oh my, how they grow up so fast. Well, enjoy your day. And tell Miles and Alan I said, and quat. Hi, and quat, said mail number 1, getting into the mail truck. The mail truck drives away. Valerie unlocks the mailbox, pulls out the mail, shuts it, then walks towards the house. Alan is running around the table. Give it here. That and #039's my snack, said Miles. It and #039's mine, Dad, said Alan. Miles tackles Alan onto the floor. That and #039's my snack. Give it here, said Miles. It and #039's mine, Dad, said Alan. No, this is yours, said Miles, tickling Alan. Alan is laughing. What are you two doing? Asked Valerie. He started it, said Miles. Well, I and #039 am finishing it. Come in, we need to clean up. Both Grace and Jessica are coming over today, said Valerie. Aunt Grace and Jessica are coming. Do you think they and #039 have a gift for me? Asked Alan. Probably not. They and #039 going through a rough time right now, said Valerie. All right, said Alan. I know what gift I want them to give me, whispered Miles. What was that? Asked Valerie. I said, and quat? You bought some ice cream. Yum yum, and quat? Said Miles, carrying the ice cream towards the freezer, knocking on the front door. I and hash 039, LL get it, said Alan. Do you think it and hash 039, Grace and Jessica? Asked Miles. Probably, so as Valerie. Yeah, said Miles really girly. Then runs into the living room. Valerie smiles. The front door opens. Aren't Grace and Jessica? Asked Alan, hugging both Grace and Jessica. Both Grace Ortiz and Jessica Cruz appear walking into the house. Oh my God, you and hash 039. Here, said Miles, jumping up and down. Both Grace and Jessica are smiling. Where in hash 039? Val? Asked Grace. I buried her in the backyard. Shh, Don and hash 039. Tell the neighbors, said Miles. Valerie walks into the living room. Hey guys, said Valerie. Damn it, she got out of the hole, said Miles. So, you guys want a drink? Asked Valerie. Sure, we and hash 039, LL take some water, said Jessica. All right, said Valerie, walking away. Hey, what about my order? Asked Miles. Why, do you work here too? Asked Valerie. So, how and hash 039, everything been? Asked Grace. Like it was before everything, said Miles. That and hash 039, good. Does Val know what you and hash 039 redoing? Asked Jessica. What is he doing? Asked Valerie, carrying 2 bottles of water. I and hash 039 planning on joining the porn industry. Both Grace and Jessica laugh. Miles looks at both Grace and Jessica. What? It could happen, said Miles. What and hash 039 really going on? Asked Valerie. I and hash 039 LL tell you after our guests have left. Hey, look at the time. Alan, we need to go throw the football some more to get you on the team, said Miles. But I Don and hash 039 play football, said Alan. You and hash 039 got a great thing going, Val, said Jessica. Yeah, it's almost like before, when we first started dating. There and hash 039 connection there, said Valerie. I bet there is, said Grace. How and hash 039 Sarah been since her husband passed? Asked Jessica. All right, she and hash 039 getting through it the best she can. Feel bad for her kids though. Living life without a father, said Valerie. Well, at least they got to know him before he passed, said Grace. That and hash 039 the important thing, said Jessica. Yeah, it is, said Valerie. The football is being thrown. Alan catches the football, then throws it back. Miles catches the football. The front door opens. All right, see you, said Jessica. Oh, leaving already? You guys can and hash 039 stay and have a slumber party? Asked Miles. All 3 start laughing. Bye Alan, see you Miles, said Grace. Alan runs, then hugs both Grace and Jessica. Bye, next time bring me a gift, said Alan. We will, said Jessica. Bye, said Grace. Both Grace and Jessica get into their car. The car starts, pulls out of the driveway, then drives down the street. All 3 are waving. All right, what and hash 039 for dinner? Asked Valerie. Pizza, said Alan. All right, Miles, can you go get some? asked Valerie. As you wish, my queen, said Miles, walking towards the van. The van starts, pulls out of the driveway, then down the street. Both Alan and Valerie walk into the house. Alan is sitting on the floor playing a video game. Valerie is sitting on the couch, taking a drink, then looks through the mail. Junk, junk, junk. Electric bill, mortgage bill. Valerie stops at an envelope. What an hash 039 's this? Asked Valerie, opening the envelope, pulling out a piece of paper, then unfolds it. And quote, Dear Miss Powell and family, my name is Roderick Matthews. I work for an old friend of yours, a Mr. Colton Dennis. Before he died, he was making an island where he wanted you to come to stay for a vacation. Here are 2 tickets for you and Mr. Miles Shoemaker. I really hope you come. For Colton and hash 039 's sake. Sincerely, Roderick Matthews. P.S. Colton really wanted you to come see his island. And quote. Valerie folds up the piece of paper. The front door opens. Miles appears carrying a pizza box. All right, pizza is here, said Miles, shutting the front door, then looking at Valerie. All right, pizza, said Alan. Something wrong? Asked Miles. I need to talk to you, said Valerie. Alan, take the pizza out to the kitchen. What an hash 039 's up? Asked Miles, sitting onto the couch. Alan carries the pizza box into the kitchen. This, said Valerie. Miles grabs the piece of paper, then unfolds it. You and hash 039, you've got to be kidding me. Colton has an island. And this Roderick guy wants us to go there for a vacation. Let an hash 039 's do it, said Miles. What about Alan? Asked Valerie. We and hash 039 LL bring him along, said Miles. There is only 2 tickets, said Valerie. Then maybe Virgil can watch Alan, said Miles. Hopefully, said Valerie. Both Alan and Miles are eating a slice of pizza. Yummy pizza, said Alan. Ain and hash 039 it? Asked Miles. Yes, hi Virgil. It and hash 039 's Valerie Powell from next door. Listen, I hope I and hash 039 am not bothering you. But I was wondering if you could watch Alan for about a week. Because Miles and I just got invited on a vacation. And we only have 2 tickets. Ha ha ha. Alright. Bye. Virgil said, and quote. Alan can stay for the week, and quote, said Valerie. At Mr. Patterson and hash 039 's house? Asked Alan. Yeah, it and hash 039 's either his house or go to Grandma Powell and hash 039 's house, said Miles. I and hash 039 LL go to Mr. Patterson and hash 039 's house, said Alan. All right. Well, we should start getting packing, said Valerie. Both Alan and Virgil appear standing on the porch. All right, thank you for this, Virgil, said Miles. No problem, said Virgil. All right, Alan, we and hash 039 LL be back in a week. Please, listen to Mr. Patterson, said Valerie. I will, and Don and hash 039 worry. Me and Mr. Patterson are gonna teach each other a lot of things, said Alan. I bet you guys will, said Miles. Both Miles and Valerie are walking towards the taxi, then get into it. The taxi drives away. Take us to this airfield, please, said Miles, handing a piece of paper. Yes, sir, said taxi driver number 1. An airfield appears. The taxi drives up, then it stops. Here you go, said Valerie. Thank you. Have a nice day. Folks, said taxi driver number 1. Both Miles and Valerie are walking. Where in #039's everybody? Asked Miles. Maybe they in #039. Not here yet. Another taxi drives up, then stops. The door opens, then shuts. The second taxi drives away. Sarah Kindler appears. Sarah, said Valerie. Both Sarah and Valerie hug each other. Hey Val, Miles. How in #039 have you been? Asked Sarah. Good. How about you? Asked Valerie. Hanging in there, said Sarah. Don and #039, worry, it and #039, LL get better. I promise. You? And we're here for you, said Valerie. So, what are you doing all the way out here? Are you going on a vacation too? Asked Miles. Actually, yeah. I got this note in the mail yesterday, saying about Colton had an island that he wanted me to see before he died, said Sarah. We got the same note, said Valerie. How strange, said Sarah. A prop plane lands, stops, then turns off. The door opens. Roderick Matthews appears. Mr. Shoemaker, Miss Powell and Miss Kindler. Nice to meet you. I and #039, Roderick Matthews. The one that sent the note, said Roderick. So, you worked for Colton? Asked Miles. After he became famous with his books. I met him on a book tour. He offered me a job to run an island he had an idea for. So, fast forward. Here we are now. Please, my pilot will take your bags, Mr. Wilson, said Roderick. Carl appears approaching, then grabs the bags. The cargo hold door opens. The bags are being placed into the cargo hold. So, when do we leave for the island? Asked Sarah. As soon as you and #039, ready and Mr. Wilson is done packing the plane, said Roderick. The cargo hold door shuts. All right, all packed and ready, sir, said Carl. All right, are you three ready? Asked Roderick. All three nod their heads. Great. Let's get going, said Roderick. The prop plane doors shut. The propeller starts spinning. Here we go, said Carl. The prop plane starts driving down the runway, then flies into the air. Mr. Matthews, what is this island called? Asked Valerie. You know, after Colton died, we decided to call it Dennis Isle, said Roderick. That seems like a good name, especially naming it after Colton, said Miles. How long has Colton had this island? Asked Sarah. Well, let an #039 SC. Colton died in 2017. So, he bought the island, I believe. The first year he had his museum, said Roderick. Who would an #039 thought Colton was creating his own island, just to have his friends be the first ones to visit it, said Miles. Actually, his first friends that were supposed to visit. They were supposed to be Mr. D'Agostino and Mr. Cania. But then they died too, said Roderick. You really know how to cheer up your visitors, Mr. Matthews, said Miles. Roderick smiles. Sarah looks out the window. Valerie looks back at Sarah. Hey Sarah, are you all right? Asked Valerie. Yeah. I just got this weird feeling, said Sarah. Air sickness? Asked Valerie. Here. I have my vomit bag, said Miles. No, not that. I have a weird feeling. But maybe it and #039 nothing, said Sarah. Hey, we and #039 here if you need to talk. You know that, right? Asked Valerie. Yeah, I know, said Sarah. The island appears in the distance. Ladies and gentlemen, there and #039 our destination, said Roderick. All three are looking out their windows, then see the Island. Oh my, said Valerie. Took the words out of my mouth, said Miles. The prop plane flies over. The island then approaches another runway. Everyone hold on. It and #039's gonna get a little bumpy. Before we land, the prop plane starts shaking. Whoa, said all three of them. The prop plane lands onto the runway, slows down, then it stops. All right, we're good, said Carl, taking off his headset. The prop plane door opens. All five are getting out of the prop plane. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dennis Isle, said Roderick. All three are looking around. Oh my, said Valerie. Please, follow me. I and #039'll show you to your rooms, said Roderick. All four are walking. Carl opens the cargo hold door, then grabs the bags. Here, need a hand? Asked Miles. No, I got it, sir. This is my job, said Carl, lifting up the bags. Footsteps are walking. This place is wonderful, said Sarah. Isn't an #039 it though, said Roderick. I still can an #039 believe this is Colton and #039's island, said Valerie. Yes, and take in the scenery. Because you and #039 the first to see this. A building appears. All right, here we are. This is where you and #039'll be staying, said Roderick. My, this looks like a mansion, said Miles. It does, doesn't an #039 it? Please, this way, said Roderick. All five are walking into the building. A camera appears, then it turns towards the group. Both Ross and Willie appear in the laboratory. Man, they don and #039 know what they and #039 about to experience, said Rosa. Trust me, if all goes as planned, nothing will happen to us, said Willie. Eyes. That what Roderick keeps telling you. Trust me, if these things get out, we're definitely dead, said Rosa. I just don and #039 want TS-15 getting out, said Willie. All five are walking around the building. My God, it's almost like Colton is a millionaire, said Valerie. No, he never wanted to be a millionaire. He was just a very brilliant man who had an idea for people to see. All right, here are the keys to the building, said Roderick. What? You and #039 just giving us the keys? Asked Miles. Well, this is your home for the week. Why not? Asked Roderick. What about you? Aaron and #039 you staying here? Asked Sarah. Actually, I have another building I stay in with my co-workers, said Roderick. That and #039 it. This is ours for the week. Asked Sarah. It most definitely is. I and #039'll see you later for dinner. My one chef is a brilliant cook, said Roderick, walking out the front door. Afternoon, said Carl, shutting the front door. Well, what do we do first? Asked Miles. Let an #039's unpack, then we and #039'll wander around this place, said Valerie. Good idea, said Sarah. Roderick pulls out his cell phone. What are you doing, sir? Asked Carl. I and #039 gonna tell them to realize one of the creatures, said Roderick. Already, they just got here, said Carl. Don and #039 worry, it and #039's not gonna be a dangerous one. Well, not really. Yes, Willie, I want you to release TS-3, and do it now without any arguments, said Roderick. Both Carl and Roderick walk away. The TS-3 cage appears. A red light appears, then it turns green. The front door of the TS3 cage opens. Growling comes from inside of the cage. All three are putting their clothes into drawers. You know, you could and hash 039 for taken the room next door, said Valerie. Yeah, I know. But, like I said, on the plane. And quat. I have a weird feeling. And quat. And right now, it and hash 039's getting stronger, said Sarah. It and hash 039's just your body telling you, you need to eat something. Because I and hash 039 am getting that feeling right now, said Miles. Let and hash 039's go get something to eat, Sarah, said Valerie. All right, said Sarah. All three are walking into the kitchen. Oh my! Look at this kitchen, said Valerie. We definitely have to buy this mansion, said Miles. You know how much it probably costs? Asked Valerie. Our life savings, said Miles. All three of our life savings, said Sarah. The refrigerator door opens. Let's see. Want any lunch meat? Asked Miles. Sure, said Sarah. Lunch meat gets thrown onto a table. The back door opens. All three are walking onto the porch. My. Look at that view, said Valerie. It's beautiful, said Sarah. Miles bites his sandwich. Then looks into the distance. A figure appears walking slowly. Hey guys, what and hash 039's that? Asked Miles. All three are looking, then see the figure walking slowly. Must be a worker, said Valerie. What and hash 039's he doing though? Asked Sarah. I don and hash 039 no, said Miles, looking at the table, then seeing two pairs of binoculars on the outside table. The pair of binoculars gets picked up. Miles looks through the binoculars. The figure is gone. Where and hash 039 did he go? I lost him, said Miles. All three are looking around. The bushes are shaking. All three look down at the bushes. Zombie number 1 appears from the bushes, then he growls. Please tell me that and hash 039's not a zombie. Just a guy pretending to be one, said Sarah. I really hope that and hash 039's true, said Valerie. Let and hash 039's get inside, said Miles. All three turn around. Zombie woman number 1 appears, growls, then tries biting. Sarah, said Valerie, grabbing zombie woman number 1 and hash 039's arms. Zombie woman number 1 and hash 039's arm skin rips off. You and hash 039've got to be kidding me, said Miles, grabbing zombie woman number 1 and hash 039's dress. The dress gets ripped off. Sarah is struggling, then looks over the banister. Zombie woman number 1 tries biting Sarah. Sarah pushes zombie woman number 1 back. Zombie woman number 1 walks towards Sarah. Sarah moves. Zombie woman number 1 falls over the banister. A thudding sound. All three look over the banister. Zombie woman number 1 continues growling. We need to find Roderick now. All three turn around. Zombies appear in the kitchen. The back stairwell now, said Miles. All three are running down their staircase. The camera moves. They and hash 039 on the run, sir, said Willie. Good. Let them continue running. Send out TS5 and TS6. Are you sure about that? Asked Willie. Yes, send them out, said Roderick. Sir, if we send those two out, TS15 might get a little jealous, said Rosa. Let it be. Jealous. Send out TS5 and TS6. Or I and hash 039 LL send you out there myself, said Roderick. Willie looks at both Carl and Rosa. Just do it, Willie, said Rosa. Willie types onto the keyboard. Both TS5 and TS6 cages appear. A red light appears, then it turns green. Two giant cage doors open. Snarling comes from inside of the TS5 cage. Hissing comes from inside the TS6 cage. All three continue running. What was that? Asked Miles. Zombies. He brought us to an island filled with zombies, said Valerie. Great. And I guarantee those are Colton and #039's zombies from all his books he wrote, said Sarah. Another adventure of nightmares coming at us, said Miles. Yeah, well, let an #039's just hope. These are the only things on this island. Because if they're an #039's more, we're definitely dead, said Sarah. The ground starts thumping. What the hell is that? Asked Valerie. All three turn around. The iguanodon appears. Hide, 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 said Miles. All three are hiding behind the trees. The iguanodon walks past. That didn't an #039's look like a zombie, said Valerie. No, that was the iguanodon from Colton and #039's book he rewrote, said Sarah. Wait, didn't an #039's he rewrite the novel? Asked Miles. Yeah, what an #039's your point? Asked Sarah. Hissing comes from behind all three of them. All three slowly turn around, then see the crocodile. I think we should run, said Miles. Good idea, said Valerie. All three slowly walk backwards. The iguanodon appears, goes to bite them, then it misses. All three start running. Both the crocodile and the iguanodon look at each other, then start fighting. A camera on a tree moves. Well, nice idea, sir. The creatures are fighting each other, said Willie. Would you like to go outside? Asked Roderick. No, sir. All four look at the screen. Iguanodon gets pushed into the tree. The camera goes static. The camera and #039's gone, sir, said Willie. Damn it. These three are not gonna get off this island. Do you hear me? Asked Roderick. Why? Are these three your main concerns? Asked Rosa. They are destroying Colton and #039's legacy by forgetting he exists. I and #039 continuing on his legacy by getting rid of the ones who forgot him, said Roderick. All three continue running, then stop. Man, this is getting better and better. What else could possibly go wrong? Asked Miles. Just wait, something will happen, said Sarah. Moaning comes from the distance. Get down, said Miles. All three duck behind the bushes. Zombies are walking around. A snapping sound comes from the distance. Zombies look, then walk away. That was a close one, said Valerie. Let an #039's get out of here, said Miles. All three stand up. Zombie number 2 appears, then moans. Miles grabs zombie number 2, throws him onto the ground, then continuously kicks his head. Thanks for that, said Valerie. Yeah, well, said Miles. Come on, said Sarah. They think they and #039 re-slick. Release TS9. Willie looks at Roderick. Do it, Willie, said Roderick. Willie types onto the keyboard. The TS9 cage appears in the water. A red light appears, then it turns green. A giant cage door opens. A bellowing sound comes from inside the cage. All three continue running. Man, how far is this building from the mansion? Asked Sarah. Probably a lot further than we thought. Who knows? Maybe Roderick took a vehicle to his place, said Miles. The ground starts thumping again. Did you guys feel that? Asked Valerie. If I said, and quat, no and quat, will you still make me check it out? Asked Miles. The iguanodon appears through the trees, then it snarls. Run, said Sarah. All three start running again. The iguanodon roars, then chases all three of them. It and #039 S still behind us, said Valerie. I and #039 D rather it behind us than in front of us, said Miles. A giant bridge appears over a giant river. Cross the bridge, said Sarah. All three are running across the giant bridge, then stop halfway. It one and #039 T cross, will it? Asked Miles. No. It one and #039 T cross. The iguanodon snarls, then slowly walks onto the giant bridge. But, then again, who and #039 S always right? Asked Sarah. All three continue running across the giant bridge. The iguanodon snarls. A figure appears swimming through the river, then towards the giant bridge. Guys, what and #039 S that? Asked Valerie. All they look at the river, then see the figure. Get across the bridge, said Sarah. All three get across the giant bridge. The iguanodon stops, stares at all three of them, then roars. The mosasaurus jumps out of the water, then bites the giant bridge. The giant bridge slowly breaks. The iguanodon roars at the mosasaurus, looks at all three of them, then goes to bite them. The giant bridge breaks. Iguanodon roars, then falls into the river. All three look down. Blood appears in the water. How ironic, said Miles. Let an #039 S find this guy and tell him. And quat. We want to leave, and quat, said Valerie. All three are walking away. Roderick bangs his hand onto the table, then knocks everything off of it. Damn it. These three are really smart. They know these creatures too well, said Roderick, holding his head. So, what now, sir? Asked Willie. Roderick lowers his hands, then paces. Sir, the plan? Asked Carl. Roderick stops pacing, then looks at Willie. Release TS-15, said Roderick. Sir, I really think that an #039 S a bad idea, said Willie. Willie, release TS-15 now, said Roderick. Willie goes to type onto the keyboard, then turns around in his chair. You know what? No. If you want him released, do it yourself. But I and #039 am done taking orders from you, said Willie, grabbing his jacket. Fine, leave. Let an #039 S see you make it off this island by yourself, said Roderick. The front door of the laboratory opens, then shuts. Willie puts on his jacket. Yeah, like I won an #039 T make it through this island. Willie walks forward, then stares up at the camera. I made this island what it is. Let an #039 S see you run it without me. The crocodile appears behind Willie on the screen. And as a matter of fact, you can kiss my, said Willie, being bitten in half. Crocodile walks away. Oh my God, said Rosa. Hey, he made his choice. Now, let an #039 S release TS-15, said Roderick, typing onto the keyboard. The TS-15 cage appears. A red light appears, then it turns green. The giant cage door opens. The ground is thumping. The iguanodon appears, then roars loudly. All three are walking, then stop. Did you hear that? Asked Valerie. Yeah. And that sounded big, said Miles. We need to find that place, quickly, said Sarah, moaning in the distance. all three hiding behind the trees. What do we do? Whispered Miles. Run, whispered Valerie. We won and #039, make it. There is a lot of zombies, whispered Sarah. The zombies continue moaning. A snapping sound. Zombies look up. The iguanacrocodon appears, then bites. The zombies are walking towards the iguanacrocodon. The iguanacrocodon swings its tail. The zombies are falling onto the ground. We can run now, said Valerie. All three start running. The iguanacrocodon bites zombie woman number 2, throws her, sees all three of them running, then roars. All three look back at the iguanacrocodon. The iguanacrocodon approaches all three of them. Oh my God. It and #039's gonna get us, said Miles. Sarah looks to her right, then sees a few trees that are intertwined. Over there, jump down, said Sarah. All three jump into the holes. The iguanacrocodon starts ramming against the intertwined roots, then starts scratching at it. It and #039's gonna try to get us, said Valerie. This creature won and #039 stop. Colton made this thing a cross breed between the iguanodon and crocodile. And it and #039's a lot smarter too, said Sarah. So, we're most likely trapped in here? Asked Miles. Definitely, said Sarah. All three are watching on the screen. Roderick laughs. Yes, I and #039 v1. Colton and #039's legacy will continue through me. Ain and #039 this great? Asked Roderick. Yes, it is, sir, said Carl. Rosa looks at the screen, then walks away. Roderick looks at Rosa. Rosa, where are you going? Asked Roderick. I Don and #039 want to see this, said Rosa. Oh, come on. We and #039 v1. Colton and #039's legacy lives on, said Roderick. Sure it does. But it shouldn't and #039 be like this, said Rosa, walking out of the room. What do you think? Asked Roderick. Whatever you do, sir. You pay me, said Carl. Roderick smiles. Pieces of the roots are falling into the hole. We are about to die, said Miles. Hey, do you think this is what Colton really wanted? Do you really think he was actually evil instead of nice? Asked Valerie. Why would you ask that question? Asked Sarah. Because look where we are. And that thing up there is his creation, said Valerie. She and #039's got a point, said Miles. I Don and #039 think Colton was evil. Putting the creations in the wrong hands is, said Sarah. The root breaks. The iguanacrocodon tries putting its snout through the opening. All three walk backwards into the whole wall. The iguanacrocodon pulls its snout out of the opening, then continues scratching at the roots. A bazooka fires. The missile hits the tree behind the iguanacrocodon. The tree falls onto the iguanacrocodon. All they look to their right. Rosa appears holding a bazooka. Get out of there. Now, said Rosa. All three are climbing out of the hole. Thanks, said Miles. Don and #039 thank me. Yet, the iguanacrocodon snarls. Run, said Rosa. All four start running. The iguanacrocodon tries moving the tree off of itself, stands up, then roars. All four continue running. The iguanacrocodon chases all four of them. Sir, they escaped, said Carl. How and #039's that possible? Roderick sees Rosa on the screen. That bitch, that sick, twisted, conniving bitch. Come on, Let an #039s go, said Roderick. Where, sir? Asked Carl. To do what I should and #039 have done when I first had them on the plane, said Roderick. The ground is continuously thumping. Rosa stops, then points the bazooka. The bazooka fires again. The iguanacrocodon ducks. The missile hits a tower. The tower explodes. Shit, said Rosa. The iguanacrocodon roars, then chases all four of them. Valerie trips. Val, said Miles. Come on, get up, said Rosa. Valerie stands up. Sarah looks back, then doesn't, and #039 TC the iguanacrocodon. Hey guys, it and #039's gone, soured Sarah. All four are looking around. Where did it go? Asked Valerie. The wind starts blowing. The trees are swaying. The ground starts thumping again. All four continuously looking around. Over there. I think I saw its tail, said Valerie. Rosa reloads the bazooka, slowly walks, then points it. Heavy breathing goes on to all three of them. All. They look at each other. Tell me that was you, said Miles. All three slowly turn around. The iguanacrocodon appears, snarling lowly. Move, said Rosa, turning around, then firing the bazooka. All three move. The missile hits the iguanacrocodon and #039's side. The iguanacrocodon roars, then falls onto the ground. Are you all right? Asked Miles. Yeah, Sarah, said Valerie. I and #039 am good, said Sarah. Come on, you three, said Rosa. A hissing sound comes from behind Rosa. Rosa slowly turns around, then sees the crocodile. Run, said Miles. Rosa goes to run. The crocodile bites Rosa in half. Oh my God, said Valerie. Sarah, come on, said Miles. Sarah runs past the crocodile. The crocodile goes to bite Sarah. The iguanacrocodon bites the crocodile and #039's neck. Both crocodile and iguanacrocodon start fighting each other. Come on, this way, said Sarah. All three are walking. The sun is shining. We need to get off this island, said Valerie. How? None of us know how to fly a plane, said Sarah. She and #039's right, we and #039 kinda stuck here, said Miles. Guns cock. Yes, you are. You are stuck on this island until you die. Because you and #039 not gonna get rescued. And not flying out of here, said Roderick. You bastard, this was all a setup. Just to get us here. Why? Asked Miles. Well, you see, Colton promised me if he ever died, the company would go to his close friends. So, I knew he had a trick up his sleeve. So, after Jacob and Christopher died, I knew I and #039 get it. But guess what? I didn't and #039 Colton wanted me here just so I couldn't and #039 get his company. He wanted me to run this park. So, I came up with an idea. Why not make it into a theme park? All about Colton. So, I had scientists make Colton and #039's monsters come to life, said Roderick. Jesus, you sound like that crazy guy who was obsessed with Colton, said Sarah. You mean Eric Ryan? What a lunatic he was. At least I got what I deserved. A way to keep Colton alive. Forever, said Roderick. Thumping comes from the distance. The iguanacrocodon appears, then snarls. Oh my God, said Miles. Well, I guess it and #039's feeding time, said Roderick. The iguanacrocodon looks at Miles, Sarah and Valerie, then at Carl and Roderick and snarls lowly. Sir, I think he remembers you, said Carl. Of course he does. He knows I and #039, his creator. Iguanacrocodon, eat your fill. The Iguanacrocodon continues staring at Roderick. Come on, you stupid animal. Kill them. Come on, said Roderick. The Iguanacrocodon snarls. Carl stares at the Iguanacrocodon, then slowly puts his gun onto the ground. Sir, put your gun down. It knows it and #039's a threat, said Carl. Yeah, like I and #039 am gonna put my gun down. Now, you eat them. Come on, what are you waiting for? Eat them. Do you need a little motivation? Eat them, you bastard, said Roderick, firing his handgun. The Iguanacrocodon roars. Roderick and #039's eyes widen. The Iguanacrocodon bites Roderick. Roderick starts screaming. Come on, you three. This way, said Carl. All four start running. The Iguanacrocodon swallows Roderick, looks at all four of them running away, then it roars. The ground starts thumping. It and #039's coming after us, said Miles. Just keep running and try not to stop, said Carl. Good idea, said Sarah. Valerie looks back, then doesn't, and #039 see the Iguanacrocodon. Hey, it and #039's gone, said Valerie. The Iguanacrocodon appears from the side of all four of them, tries biting Valerie, then misses. All four continue running. There and #039's the runway. Hurry, get to the plane, said Carl. All four run towards the prop plane, then stop. The Crocodon appears, then hisses. Shit, said Miles. The ground continues thumping from behind them. The Iguanacrocodon appears, then snarls. The Crocodon looks at the Iguanacrocodon, then it snarls. The Iguanacrocodon is staring at the Crocodon, then it roars. Both the Iguanacrocodon and the Crocodon run at each other. Hurry, get to the plane. All four are running towards the prop plane. The prop plane doors open. All four climb into the plane. The propeller starts spinning. Hold on, said Carl. The prop plane starts driving, then flies up. The Iguanacrocodon goes to bite the prop plane and #039's tail, then it misses. The Crocodon bites the Iguanacrocodon and #039's tail. The Iguanacrocodon roars. Turns, then bites the Crocodon and #039's neck. The Crocodon continuously snarls, then gets its neck snapped. The Iguanacrocodon stands up, then it roars. The prop plane is flying over the water. We're safe now, said Miles. Sarah looks out of the window, then sees a figure in the water. Fly up quickly, said Sarah. The prop plane flies up. The Mosasaurus jumps out of water, tries biting the prop plane, then it misses. All four are cheering. Yeah, said Sarah. God, that was close, said Valerie. How about I take you folks home? Asked Carl. Great idea, said Miles. The prop plane flies away. A taxi pulls up. Here we are, said taxi driver number 2. Thank you. Here you go, said Valerie. The doors open, then shut. Mom, Dad, you and #039 back, said Alan, hugging both Miles and Valerie. Yeah, we and #039 home, said Valerie. Virgil approaches. So, how was your vacation? Asked Virgil. Death-defying, said Valerie. Hey, if you want to take a longer vacation, I wouldn't, and #039 mind. Me and Mr. Patterson were just playing a game, said Alan. You know what? I, Don, and #039 Think we and hash 039, Gonna be going on a vacation for a while, said Valerie. Oh man, said Alan. Trust me, son. This vacation was too much for us, said Miles, looking at Valerie, then smiling. The end.